Alright, so in this tutorial we're going to be looking at a kitchen with a seating area in the back, but we have a beam going across, so I would consider this more of a challenging situation to light. How I run on every listing, on every shoot, is I have a flash mounted on top of my camera like you see here, and I always have my AD200 that I can use to go around from room to room within the scene or in the background to light longer rooms, or in this situation 2 rooms that are kind of separated by a beam that is in the ceiling, so we have to minimize shadows. That's why we always run with a light near or on the camera. That's going to help you blend a lot faster. Let me take you into Lightroom right now. I'm going to show you how we initially edit these images, and then we move them to Photoshop to make a final image, and then back to Lightroom. Let's go. Alright, so here is our ambient layer, and I typically love to shoot with lights off, and the natural light coming in is going to help you. And the other thing that, the other reason why I love to run with lights off is because your white balance is going to be fairly consistent throughout every room, and your flash is going to match the light coming in. So it makes it easy for if you want to set your camera to auto white balance. Like I said, here is the ambient layer. We're going to do my initial preset here. And of course, these are just starting points. I'm going to bring those shadows back down, maybe bump that exposure more, because again, I'm using this just to light the scene evenly. And of course, we do, because we have orange, wood cabinets, you're going to have orange color cast to a certain degree, but the flash layer will fix that. And so let's look at the flash layer. This is it. This is before any bumps that I'm putting onto it. So again, that flash going off above the camera, you can see that it's lighting the kitchen area, and then I walked around behind it here because the room it was tucked in over here, and I just took and bounced my flash over there to try to light this area over here. So if we do our initial preset here, we can increase that exposure. Let's drop those shadows down, give us more contrast. I even like to bring the blacks down a little bit. Alright, so let's just highlight these 2 images, right click, edit in, open as layers in Photoshop. Okay, so we have our ambient layer sitting on top, flash layer underneath, and really what I love to do to make my workflow faster is, here's the thing, notice my flash layer doesn't have a lot of unnatural shadows. So let's turn that on. Let's drop the opacity to 50% and see what that looks like. And honestly, I think it looks amazing. Let's go ahead and flatten image. And I'm going to Command S to save it to bring it back into Lightroom, and that doesn't mean I'm done yet. But we're going to take this TIFF file that we just blended, and we're going to do our interior final bump. And again, I like to maybe tweak it a little bit, bringing those blacks down, maybe bringing the shadows up a little bit more. And watch your histogram. See, the majority of my histogram right here is just right of center. Right here, here's center point. Just make sure it's right of center. And there you go. I'm going to show you one more example. Let's move on. Here's a dining room. Here's another room off to the right. And again, it's, it has this divider, this beam right here that, again, would not allow us to complete this in one flash pop. But let's see. And again, here's the flash image, and notice that we have a flash. Let me see if I can zoom in. Yeah, we have a flash shot, or our umbrella, or whatever I was using in this house, reflection issue, but we can fix that. What we're going to do is do our final, or our initial bump on this, bring that exposure up. That's our flash shot. Bring those shadows back down. Gotta be careful not to bring those shadows up too much. It just washes the image out. So I was doing that for a while, and I realized that's not a good idea. So let's go to our ambient layer. Do our initial bump on that. And it looks like we definitely have some color cast issues. Again, that's why we use flash. Try that white balance check there. That looks pretty good. Okay. Let's highlight those 2 images and bring them into Photoshop. Okay, let's check our flash layer. And I believe for this listing, don't quote me on this, but I think I did use a shoot-through umbrella, which definitely can minimize your shadows, which I love because it allows us to do that 50% blend. Just drop your ambient layer to 50%, and what we're going to do now is, because it did wash out those windows, is we're going to create a layer mask. Don't invert it. Make sure black is selected over here, brush tool is selected, and we're just going to paint back in the flash layer for those windows. And again, this is the other thing why I like to make sure that you can get a good window pull with your flash layers. That way you're not having to do a window pull. It just adds an extra step. And to be honest with you, when you start getting 2 or 3 listings a day in the busy season, you're going to want to make this procedure and this method fast as you possibly can. But still getting good, high-quality results. Obviously, I just want to keep you in business. So that's what I'm trying to teach and show you, that it is possible to do a lot of these rooms with, your one ambient layer, one flash layer. So let's flatten this image now. And let's Command J to duplicate it. Now, normally what I would do is make sure I do another flash pop to eliminate that glare in the window, and I know that was from my flash. So what we can do is we can just experiment with different tools over here. The patch tool seems to be my favorite. I'm just going to Command and then the plus sign to bring me in closer, and use my mouse, drag it up to the top here. So what we can do is basically duplicate a lot of what's going on here. We're going to highlight this and maybe move it over or down. Let's see if we go down to here. I'm trying to match up those window panes right like that and let off. If we just toggle that on and off, that definitely got rid of it. So we're going to do that again here. So you highlight what you want to get rid of, and then you got to move it down somewhere else to where, try to find somewhere where it's going to match up, and then let off. And again, it doesn't have to be exact, because you're looking at this so far away. We want to take the focus away from the window glare is basically what we're doing here. Let's see, we got to go to the top here. And up a little bit more. See what I'm doing? I'm just lining up the window pane, the sat hashes there. And again, we can do some repairs. Just grab whatever you don't want in the shot. Now, if we toggle this on and off, that definitely reduced it a lot. And if we back out, you're never even going to know. Because the sun, see how the sun was so harsh against those trees? I mean, it's going to be blown out a little bit, but now it's not so distracting around there. And let's right-click, flatten image, Command S to save it, and we're going to bring it back into Lightroom. But before I do, I want to show you one other trick, because I noticed right up here, it looks like we have some green, and that is going to be the issue in the summertime when you have green foliage coming through the windows. It is going to cast green on the walls, ceilings, and whatever. So what we can do in that regard is we're going to create a hue saturation layer, and just click that there. We can do is take this little dropper here and just click on it, and it actually is yellow. It's claiming it's yellow, so if we pull that down, that pulls that color right out of there, but it takes the yellow out of the whole entire scene. So what we can do is Command I to invert that layer mask, make sure white is selected, paintbrush is selected. I'm just taking the right bracket on my keyboard to make that bigger, and we're just going to start painting out that ceiling, getting rid of that yellow in the ceiling. That's why I like that tool, is because maybe you would think it would be green, but anywhere where you see green color casts, or yellow for that matter, like here, gets rid of that. And you can always toggle that on and off to see the difference. I don't know if you can see that, but look right here. When I toggle that off, look at how yellow that looks, and then you shut it off, and we got a nice clean white ceiling. All right, let's right-click, flatten image now, and bring that back in. Command S to save it, and back into Lightroom. I'm going to just do my final bump here, interior final. Maybe drop those blacks down a little bit more. I'm getting to the point now where I like the deep, rich contrast look. Not overkill, because remember, you want to make it look like how you see it with your eyes. That's going to give potential buyers confidence in that realtor when they're listing photos, that they are going to, they're going to get what they see in the photos when they're looking at the listing online. So just make sure that you don't want to overly edit and oversaturate your images to make them look fake. That's going to give you a bad reputation, and also going to hurt the reputation of the realtor that you're doing work for. So leave me a comment below if you have any questions, and I look forward to seeing you in the next tutorial, guys. Bye-bye.